This explosive offense out of the Bears playbook is the perfect scheme for an athletic quarterback, and it'll have your opponent confused and frustrated all game long as you attack the defense both on the ground and through the air. This scheme is out of the gun doubles offset weak formation, and today we're going to be looking at some of the deadliest RPOs and motion plays in all of Madden. But before we got to play offense, we had to kick off to the Browns and play defense using my favorite scheme in the game right now, which is nickel over, and the full ebook for that, along with all my other ebooks, can be found over at sprucegoose.gg. My opponent was not comfortable against my cover 4 quarter setup, and on this 1st and 10 play, he threw it straight at my safety, who decided to just swat the ball away instead of picking it off. On 2nd down, he once again threw to a heavily guarded receiver, and on 3rd down, he was able to just barely hit this slant in between 4 of my defenders and somehow take it all the way for a touchdown against our slow-ass Bears secondary. But I didn't mind too much because now it was our turn to play offense. I started off the game with the play RPO read bubble, and on this play, you always have to read the read key defender with the R above his head. Because the defender squared up to the quarterback, I went ahead and held down A on Xbox, which will be X if you're on PlayStation, to hand the ball off to David Montgomery, and we found an open running lane for a nice 14-yard gain. I went back to RPO read bubble on the next play, but we didn't have any running lanes this time, so on 2nd down, I turned to RPO orbit bubble where the receiver comes across the formation on a motion swing. Now you can see that my opponent ran with the motion receiver, so I didn't press anything to just hand the ball off to my running back and take it up the middle once again. Now on 3rd down, I wanted to give my opponent the exact same look pre-snap, so I called orbit PAX spot to see if I could get his user to follow with the receiver in motion once again. Sure enough, he went after the motion receiver, and it opened up a ton of space over the middle for my tight end Cole Kmet on this really nice man-beating post route. Next, I went back to RPO read bubble, and this time the read key defender came crashing in, so I didn't press anything, kept the ball with Justin Fields, and let him show off his crazy speed and athleticism as he ran through the tackle attempt from the safety and took it all the way for the 36-yard touchdown. Back on defense, my opponent continued to try his very best to throw me an interception, but my guys just kept wanting to swat the ball down. He really wasn't afraid of this Bears secondary at all because he just kept throwing right at us. But eventually he figured out that maybe he should try running the ball instead, and my defense parted like the Red Sea sadly, and I let Nick Chubb go untouched for a 52-yard touchdown. Back on offense, to start off the drive, I went with the play sail, and my only adjustment was to put the outside receiver on a streak. I love this play because it's great against both man and zone coverage, and on this play, with my opponent in man coverage, I see my tight end Cole Kmet get wide open on the zig route, but Justin Fields was unable to hit him. Since Justin clearly wasn't in the mood for passing, I went back to RPO read bubble, except this time, I experienced one of those rare cases where the pitch key defender also ran in, and we ended up taking a 3-yard loss. Now on 3rd and 13, I tried out a new play, which was red zone halfback corner, and since my opponent was playing a ton of man coverage, my primary read was the running back on this corner route that usually beats man coverage. Unfortunately, Khalil Herbert got no separation at all, and now I was facing a long 4th and 13. My gut told me that red zone halfback corner was still a good play call here, and this time I put my slot receiver on the post in motion before snapping the ball to get a little bit better spacing between him and the outside receiver, who was also on a post. My opponent surprised me with a cover 3 this time, but it left a huge pocket of space underneath the middle safety, so with a pass lead straight down, I was able to just fit the ball in to Chase Claypool and keep the chains moving. Going back to RPO read bubble, my opponent had a really nice gap shoot on the running back handoff on 1st down, so on 2nd down, I went back to orbit PAX spot, and once again, I was able to hit the tight end Cole Kmet for a solid 19-yard gain. On 1st and 10, I went with the play sail once again, and this time Justin Fields was able to make an accurate pass to the tight end zig, and that brought us into the red zone. Now it was time to go back to RPO orbit bubble, and since my opponent had now seen us run the play PA orbit X spot a few times, I figured he probably wasn't going to run with the motion receiver again. Sure enough, his user stayed in the middle of the field, and we were able to hit Chase Claypool on the motion swing and get some great blocks from our other receivers receivers to get down inside the 5-yard line. To finish off the drive, I went with RPO Orbit Sweep Peak, which has the same wide receiver motion, but this time we get 2 pulling guards as lead blockers. My opponent tried to use her with a safety and run after the motion swing, and in doing so, left us with a ton of space to walk into the end zone with Khalil Herbert. Now on my opponent's next drive, he was able to get us with one decent play after he caught me making too many pre-snap adjustments, but that's when I really dialed it up with our nickel over defense and the fastest blitz in the game. On 1st and 10, our defensive end absolutely screamed in unblocked off the edge to bring Deshaun Watson down for a 10-yard sack, and on 2nd down, my opponent apparently didn't learn his lesson because he let the blitz come in again, this time for a 6-yard loss. Now my opponent was spooked, and on 3rd and 26, I jumped right in front of his favorite route in the gun bunch formation, which is the tight end wheel route in the play verticals, and that put us in position to score once again before halftime. On 1st and 10, going back to the play sail, we once again got crazy separation from Cole Kmet on the zig route, and we were able to make one defender miss, outrun a second defender, and take it all the way for a 40-yard touchdown. Now in the second half, I went back to Justin Fields' favorite play, which is RPO read bubble, and with the read key crashing in, I kept the ball this time and rumbled ahead for a 15-yard gain. On the next play, I went back to sail once again, and I could have hit the running back wide open in the flat, but we had a shorter throw to Cole Kmet on the zig, so I hit him once again for the 9-yard gain. On 2nd and 1, it was back to RPO read bubble, and yet again the read key came crashing in, allowing us to pick up more easy yards with Justin Fields. My opponent played really solid defense on the next play against Orbit PAX spot, so I went back to sail, and this time hit the running back completely unguarded in the flat for an easy 1st down. Then I went back to RPO Orbit Bubble to see if his user would run with the motion receiver, and sure enough, the user stayed inside and let us pick up an easy 12 yards with Chase Claypool. Going back to RPO read bubble again, my opponent still refused to go on option defense conservative, and this time I got a little too excited trying to run the ball in with Justin Fields, but fortunately he's a brick wall and held on through the contact. From the 1-yard line, we punched it in easily with a halfback draw to Khalil Herbert, and that gave us a commanding 28-14 lead. On my opponent's next drive, he started moving the ball decently well with a 17-yard dot to David Bell, followed by a 9-yard run by Kareem Hunt. But then a couple plays later on 3rd and 1, it looked like he was trying to give me a pick 6 when he threw at my defender in the flat, and on 4th and 1, he had absolutely nothing open, and the pass rush eventually got in there to force the turnover on downs. At this point, I almost felt bad running the play sail so many times, but if my opponent wasn't going to adjust, then I was going to keep taking full advantage of the tight end zig route, which Cole Kmet took for a 31-yard gain. Then I went back to RPO read bubble again, and the speed of Justin Fields was simply too much as he waltzed into the end zone to put the game away. Our nickel over defense forced another stop in garbage time, and we racked up some extra rushing yards with Justin Fields as we ran the clock out. Justin Fields finished the day with an incredible stat line, going 13 of 15 passing for 250 yards and a touchdown, along with 6 rushing attempts for 123 yards and 2 touchdowns. So if you're looking for an explosive offense and want to take full advantage of an athletic quarterback like Justin Fields, then gun doubles offset week out of the Bears playbook just may be the scheme for you. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and I'll catch you in the next video for another scheme breakdown.